Today's video is about rejection. And the reason for this video is because recently I've received a very upsetting email that made me doubt myself more and feel like what I've got to say is not important. I will tell you the whole story in a moment, but I need to tell you why I decided to make this video. Generally speaking, I try to stay positive and not spread any negative vibe, and I try to not see myself as a victim or simply push through any obstacles when they come. And most of the time it works. From time to time, when you create something and when you're building something that does not exist yet, you're starting at the very bottom of the ladder, and people will try to bring you down. They will say all the things that you are insecure about. They will doubt you and make you feel insignificant. It's generally the people who have a very small mind. They don't have anything else apart from their regular job, usually mediocre job, going on. And they've never actually followed any dream of their own. So they don't even believe anything is possible. So let me get into this story. Not long ago, I was in one of the swimming pools I go to for my usual workout before I go to work. And after a long deliberation and attempts, I finally made a move and approached one of the supervisors in that swimming pool to ask whether their organization would be up for some kind of a collaboration. I wanted to open a dialogue and feel whether certain organizations or certain people in it would like the idea of getting involved, either through being in a video interview or allowing me to use their facilities or any other capacity, including in the documentary about swimming and drowning prevention that I'm working on. So it started very well. I first met a cafe owner in that building who introduced me to the supervisor at that particular place. I'm not going to name them because I decided not to be petty about it or call them out. But they have several swimming pools in Edinburgh, and you will know eventually who they are if you listen deeper to this story and you live in the city. So as I met this supervisor, he felt quite excited, I think, about the prospects of doing something like a documentary or getting involved. And he also gave me contact details from someone higher up within the company to speak to and see whether they can do something, because he's not the decision maker that would ultimately sign off on whatever we would be doing. So I was very happy. I got the email address And I was very happy that I made a couple new good connections in that organization, and I got a name of another one, which I'll soon be emailing. And it took me a few days to get myself to send an email to this person. And then I put together a relatively brief email detailing what I'm working on, what my ambitions are in terms of speaking about drowning prevention and swimming, learning to swim. I mentioned my story a bit, why it's so close to my heart. And funnily enough, within a few minutes from sending this email, I received a very short response saying, "Call me," and then a phone number. So after a little bit of anxious explosion of thoughts, I decided to give this woman a call, and we ended up having a good conversation about my story, but also about where we could take this and what we could do. That woman is responsible for PR of this big organization, and I thought she will be able to pull some strings and get me into a meeting with someone who is a decision maker and will help me make things happen. So she seemed very intrigued by what I got to say. She, I think, was aligned with the idea of promoting learning to swim and swimming in general, and drowning prevention, of course. So everything went relatively well, and she seemed happy to push my name further into the organization and see what happens. So she promised me that she's going to speak to some people to eventually arrange some kind of collaboration together. At the same time, she said that she's not promising anything and to not get my hopes too high, which I didn't, because at the moment I'm really just feeling what's going on, trying to see whether I could bring someone on board with me or just open a couple doors for me, or find out whether certain parts of my project needs to change or improve, or what else could be done. So it's very much pre-production, and very much a part where everything is still flexible and the ideas are still morphing. So it took a few days, and she sent me a message that she's going to contact me with a couple of people who are in another big organization related to swimming in Scotland. And she ensured that I got another person's name to talk to. But further, she was also specifically trying to reach someone within the swimming pool that I really wanted to film at, because I go there quite often and it's quite close to my house. So I wanted to be that specific swimming pool if possible. A few days later, which was not long ago, I received an email about her successful attempt to speak to this person. And from what I gather, that person is, how would I put this? Is not really open to the idea of a stranger person who is an outsider and never took any swimming classes to speak about drowning prevention. In that email, apart from requesting several other details about documentary and trying to big themselves up, basically, to throw as many logs under my feet as possible. That person says that, I believe this is a paraphrased quote from that person within that email, but it said that they cannot endorse an outsider like me, and since I've never took any formal swimming lessons, I am not an authority to speak about drowning prevention. And even the fact that I have my national pool lifeguard qualification, I still am not an authority to speak about that, which I understand. Morning. Morning.
Morning. Getting colder.
Oh, yes. See, I get that people are suspicious of someone who is from a completely different world enter their space and try to speak about it. I understand that I, at this moment, am at the very bottom of the ladder within the swimming world. Because for people who lived all their life swimming, competing, coaching, and then being a director of a very much serious swimming venue, an Olympic-sized swimming venue, if someone comes in from the street and says that they want to talk about swimming, it might look like they're not an authority. But I never claimed within any of my previous attempts and communication that I am an authority. I'm a communicator. I'm a middleman at the moment. I'm a facilitator, someone who opens up a conversation and speaks to experts and authorities, asking questions and learning. And eventually, after asking hundreds of questions and interviewing a ton of different experts in different fields, I will be an authority. But at the moment, I don't have to be one. I speak for the people who cannot swim and people who would love to change that. I would like to speak for people who go to the water, whether that's in a swimming pool or the sea or any other open water, and they feel scared and they don't know what to do and what they can do and what they shouldn't do and how to go about doing that. And what I've noticed is that the swimming world at the moment is very, very elitist, and it's somewhat that people who live in this world, they almost love to show their superiority, their authority. So I would like to change that, or I would like to call them out and say, that is not right. I am on the way to become some sort of authority on the swimming topic and drowning prevention, and whether that's by teaching other people to swim or working as a lifeguard in a swimming pool or on the beach, or educating people on the internet, making a difference, I will be indirectly responsible, or very much directly responsible, in preventing drowning. And that's huge. Yet this little comment really bothered me, and it hurt my feelings, I would say. Because when you're at the beginning, every critical thing people say could be enough to stop you from pursuing even a worthy cause. And I believe this is a worthy cause. And, you know, because it's at the beginning, and because there's still not much out there on YouTube that I can show for myself, it's hard. But meet me in a year time, or 2 years, 5 years, after I've interviewed dozens of people. I've trained myself to become a strong and educated lifeguard, and then you'll see, and then we'll have conversations. Now, because of that, and because of overall reluctance from this organization to even sit down, take a meeting, and discuss what's possible with me, I think I'm going to let this one go. I will thank this person who was connecting me within this organization for their time and their efforts. Oh, I also had thoughts to respond in a sarcastic and almost petty way, but I decided not to do so. That would be against my personal values. So I'm simply going to politely remove myself from the conversation with this organization and see if there's anybody else who would like to help me push this cause and is with much better attitude and just a much more open mind. That's all I've got to say for today. It turned out to be a little bit of a rant, but it bothered me so much that I had to say it and put it out there to the world. If you agree with me, say it in the comments. If you disagree, let me know. I want to know what you think. I am not going to refrain from discussions and criticism as long as it's constructive and open-minded. Good morning. I will continue doing these videos from random places around Edinburgh because not only it makes it for a beautiful backdrop for a video, but also I really like being outdoors, close to the nature, and make these videos where I don't have to edit too much, yet I get to freely speak about what I think. That also makes me a better communicator, and hopefully a few years from now this will show, and we will be able to look back and laugh at the shitty ones. Anyway, thank you for hanging out. I'll speak to you in another one.